Okay, this is video 3, Metu Netter. M-E-T-U-N-E-T-E-R. M-E-T-U-N-E-T-E-R. Volume 1. Metu means without. Netter means God. The essence of this book is about the automation of man. The automation that is within us, which is in touch with all the functions of the world. So again, this is really touching on the metaphysics. It is the inner that is in line with the perfection of the world. Our perfect functions and nature's perfect functions. Our blood flows, our food digests, our heart beats, our cells regenerate just like the waves roll, the weather changes, erosion. The two natures are actually connected. It says there are 3 kinds of people in the world. One type inclines toward relying on the willed part of being for survival and flourishment. The willed part, the learned part, the external part. The second on the omniscience, intelligence, and the automation, the right part of the brain, what happens naturally, nature. And then the third is the equilibrium of the both. The left and right brain working together, the combination of the outside and the inside, the learned versus the natural. These 3 categories do not represent distinct types, but the stages in spiritual development of individuals and nations. We start off, this is what I'm getting. Our left brain, we're learning everything that's out. Our parents teach us to talk. We learn that God is in the sky. We learn all these things. And as we begin to mature and develop and learn, we begin to find things that transcend outside of us, like intuition. Like our sense of reality, where there's something more than the external things that we're taking in. And then as we grow older, if we're lucky, we learn the balance of the two, because you have both for a reason, and you learn how to work the two. Now, the thing is, who has learned how to do that? I said that there are 3 types of people. We can begin to see which cultures shape up which categories. First type, polarized in the cultivation of the external part of being, corresponds fundamentally to the Western man and some Orientals, while the opposite, polarized the cultivation of the internal, corresponds to the black race and some Orientals. So they're talking about your Northern Orientals and whites, your Europeans that are left brain. The deep spiritual and connected group are the black and Southern Orientals. This book, the Metu Netter, supposes that the only group, which is the third group, success in the cultivation of both parts has only been truly achieved by the Kemetans, ancient Egyptians, who, for the record, belong to the black race. So it is not that the black race has balanced the left and right brain, or the external and the internal, the divisive versus the connected. It's specifically within the black race, a group, the Egyptians, that mastered this. That's where it's going into blacks and Orientals looking within for answers, where the other Northern Orientals and Northern Orientals and Europeans look externally for answers. They have a wind god, a sun god, everything is outside of them, more left brain than right brain. Then it actually goes into the hemispheres of the brain, and speaking about the differences in the cultures, as to where the Westerner has a traditional fear of the deceased, as to where the non-Westerner or the Egyptian had a natural connection and communication with the deceased, functioning with their ancestors. That's where immortality and those types of realities dwell in the right side of the brain. It goes in, this is worth mentioning, it's talking a lot about cultural differences, and as you see, the Westerner has taken control of a lot of religions and input their value system into the religion, which is why the Metu Neter is actually proposing that a true religion cannot exist within the Western mind because of the value system of the Westerner. They're going to take the religion without the value system that goes behind the religion, and they will bend the religion around their value system, which doesn't match because the brains doesn't match. One particular example of this is the treatment of women. There are no female rabbis, bishops, that kind of thing, even today. Whereas you had female pharaohs, you had female priestesses. This was common within the right-brained Phoenician people. Central to our discourse is the fact that characteristics of Western culture are predominantly the productions of the left hemisphere of the brain, while the characteristics of the black and most other northwestern cultures are on the right. That's touching on all of this is coming back, that the manifestation of culture is coming from how people are thinking. It manifests in value systems, which internalize how women are treated. If I'm trying to keep something for myself, I'm not going to share it with another gender. I'm not going to share it with another race. I'm not going to share it with, and if that's the top of my value system, that's what I'm going to do. But if I'm actually functioning from within and external value really doesn't mean a lot, I'm really functioning on information and reality, which has no gender, which is why you see this non-gender specific existence within the Egyptian and right brain thinking cultures. You see a lot of, just to read this part, Westerners are now in possession of dictionaries of the Egyptian language, and they are not in possession to understand it because they do not understand the value system or the thought process that produces it. So if they can't understand where religion came from, They cannot understand religion. We're going to move on. We're still in chapter 1. This is going to be a summer project.